Shalom Aleichem, everyone, as we prepare for Shabbat, Parashat Nasso. Parashat Nasso is the first parasha right after Shavuot, right? This is also the longest parasha in the Torah, with 176 psukim, if I'm not mistaken. 176 psukim, being the longest parasha. The question is, why is the longest parasha right after Shavuot? And so, the answer on Shavuot, we said to Hashem, we're accepting the Torah. We're taking the Torah. So we want to show that we're accepting it. It means we're taking everything, not just the small parashiot. We take the big parashiot also. Give us everything. 176 psukim, it's nothing for us. We accepted the Torah. We'll take everything that comes with it. Take the whole package. Parashat Nasso is a famous parasha, as it talks about a lot of topics that is unique. We have in the parasha Birkat Kohanim. We have in the parasha the story of the Sotah. And famously right after the Sotah is the Nazir. So we'll try to talk about these three topics in order, which would be Sotah, Nazir, and Birkat Kohanim. I want to start off about the Sotah. Everybody knows the story of the Sotah. There's a woman, and she secludes herself with a man after her husband warns her not to. And as such, the husband then is forced to take her, and the witnesses to the whole matter, that she was secluded. And the husband is forced to take her up to the Beit HaMikdash, and if she doesn't admit to the sin, they have to give her waters to drink. And in those waters, they take a parchment with Hashem's name, they write out the whole parasha of the Sotah, and they scratch it off and put it inside the water, and she drinks it, and if she's guilty, she dies on the spot, and the person she sinned with, the Rambam says, also dies. And if she is innocent, then she is blessed with stronger children. If she had girls, now she'll have boys. If she had weak children, now she'll have strong children. And erasing the name, everybody says erasing the name is to show you for Shalom Bayit, you can erase Hashem's name for Shalom Bayit. Always troubled me. So what, for Shalom Bayit means you can throw the Torah out? I mean, how do you understand this? So this year, when I was learning this topic, I came across in the Aleinu L'Shabeach, he brings down a Hamudei Yitzchak. The Hamudei Yitzchak says a fascinating understanding concept to this. He says, if you have a piece of paper and it says the letter Yud, and then on the other side of the paper is a letter Hey, and then on the bottom of the paper is a Vav, and the other side of the paper is a Hey. None of the letters of Hashem's name, Yud, K, Vav, and the K, none of them are attached. They're just all over the paper. Is that considered Hashem's name or not? So the halacha is, it's not. It's not considered Hashem's name because the letters are not together. So the Hamudei Yitzchak explains, we know that Ish and Isha, Ish, a man, has a Yud, Aleph, Yud, Shin. Isha, Aleph, Shin, Hey. And we're told, if a man and a woman are zocheh, to be, as the pasuk says, v'hayu l'basar echad, if they're able to live in peace and become one flesh, then Hashem's name is there. Yud and a Hey together, you have Shem Hashem. If Has v'Shalom, they do not get along with each other, then the Hey and the Yud are separated. And so the Hamudei Yitzchak explains, if the Hey and the Yud is separated, then Hashem's name between this couple has already been separated. And as such, erasing the name from the parchment is not erasing because it's not there. Because the Yud and the Hey of the Ish and the Isha are not there. Telling us that when we are zocheh, when we're married to Shalom Bayit, this is really living according to the ways of Hashem. a happy couple, a couple that gets along, a couple that's friendly with one another, helpful to one another, always looking to assist and help to see what they can do. And it's a two-way street. But each one has to work on their side of the street. No, don't worry about the other side of the street. When you're driving your car, the main thing is you pay attention to how you're driving. Don't pay attention to the guy next to you and say, what is he doing? Why? You can't control his car. You can control your car. The same thing it is in a marriage. Yes, she's her own independent vehicle. You're your independent vehicle. But if you're driving straight, so she'll get online too. You'll work, but you have to work on yours. You can't control another person. You work on what you can do. And when you work on that, and you have Shalom Bayit, you have Hashem there with you. And how? If you have Hashem with you, of course you're going to have everything you need in life. There's a story Rav Zilberstein brings down the Aleinu L'Shabeach, and how there was a young man who got married, and it was only a few months after his wedding that unfortunately he started to have problems with his wife, and they weren't getting along. So much so that he had to leave. So he had to pack up his bags and said, I have to spend some time away from you. So he decided to go to Tiberia, and he's going to check into a hotel. He's going to go to a hotel. He's going to stay there, cool down, calm down, think about his life, and see what to do. The man had to go pray Mincha and Aravit. So he went to the local shul. And as he's in the local shul, there was a rabbi in that city, Rav Klyer. And Rav Klyer saw this man. And Rav Klyer was very big into Achnasat Orchim. And so he quickly saw this new guy in town. He said, come, I want you to come to my house. Come be with me, spend some time with me. I want to do the mitzvah. The man says, thank you, Rabbi, but I already checked into a hotel. I got everything set up. I don't need your help. I'm good. The rabbi said, listen, don't worry about the hotel. I'll take care of it. I just, let me do the mitzvah. Come to my apartment. You'll sleep by me. There's nothing wrong with that. The rabbi was influential enough, so this man had no choice, and he ended up going with the rabbi back to the rabbi's apartment. When he got to the rabbi's apartment, he was in for a little surprise. The rabbi lived in a one-bedroom apartment, and he put partitions in the living room to make up some other rooms there. And now this young man felt very uncomfortable being there. He told the rabbi, listen, I didn't understand you live in such a situation. I told you I have a hotel room. I'll go to the hotel room. The rabbi said, listen, how many times I have to tell you? Just do me a favor. Let me have the mitzvah of Achnasat Orchim. Stay with me one night. The man had no choice. The young man decided he'll stay there. He'll help the rabbi do a mitzvah. The young man stayed in the rabbi's house. And he slept there, or he tried to sleep there, because this rabbi really wouldn't let him sleep. The rabbi was learning almost throughout the whole night. He slept maybe 3 or 4 hours. And early in the morning, around 7 a.m., the rabbi wakes up. He goes to the stove. It wasn't a regular stove. It was one of those kerosene stoves that you have to light up. And there's a lot of work to do. And the rabbi is working on it. He's putting a hot tea kettle. He's putting a tea kettle on it. He's making tea early in the morning. And this young man didn't sleep the whole night. He's looking at the rabbi thinking, wow, so now he's going to have a coffee early in the morning. He sees the rabbi making a coffee. And the rabbi walks into the bedroom. So he doesn't say anything. He goes with the rabbi to Shaharit. Whole day passes. The rabbi again gets him, says, you got to come to my house again for Achnasat Orchim. Okay, he says, listen, I already was there last time. Let me just go help this rabbi again. Maybe I'll do another mitzvah. He goes again that night, and he sees the same thing in the morning. The rabbi is preparing a cup. It takes about 20 minutes to get this water hot, making this tea, and taking it into his wife's bedroom, to the bedroom, and giving it to his wife. As the rabbi walks out of the bedroom, on his way to Shaharit, this young man says, Rabbi, I'm sorry, I'm not coming back to your house for Achnasat Orchim. I can't come here. The rabbi says, why not? He says, Rabbi, I didn't know that your wife was sick, and I cannot impose upon you when your wife is sick. I don't want to be an extra burden for you when your wife is sick. So the rabbi says, who told you my wife is sick? Who said my wife is sick? Where are you getting this information from? So he says, Rabbi, you don't have to tell me. Nobody has to tell me. I see with my own eyes. He says, what do you see? He says, I see you every morning getting up and spending 20 minutes, 30 minutes making 1 cup of coffee to take to your wife in the morning. It must be she can't get out of bed and you have to take her breakfast to her. And you're calling me, it's not right. I'm not coming back. The rabbi heard this, and the rabbi said to this young man, oh my goodness, you have no idea what you're talking about. He says, let me tell you what the Arizal says a person is supposed to do when they wake up in the morning. When a person wakes up in the morning, he has to accept upon himself the mitzvah of ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, to love another Jew like yourself. And this rabbi says to this young man, he says, you know where I do this mitzvah? I do it right here at home. I do it by making a cup of coffee for my wife the first thing in the morning. Before I go to Shaharit, I prepare the cup of coffee for my wife. This way, I'm fulfilling the mitzvah of ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha at home, just like the Arizal says to do. You can imagine the way the young man felt, embarrassed, thinking that the rabbi's wife was sick. He then told the rabbi, you know why I'm here, I'm all alone, I'm really married, but my wife and I got in a fight and I didn't know what to do. But now I see how you take care of your wife and how it's ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha applies at home as well. People are very good at being very helpful and very friendly and very nice to people on the outside. Usually the reason for that is because people on the outside thank you more than your own family and friends. But the mitzvah is just as applicable at home, if not even more. Obviously, this young man was placed in the rabbi's house by divine intervention, and he was able to fix his marriage and save his marriage and live a much happier life. That's why it's important that Ish and Isha be together. Like the Hamadei Yitzchak says, in order for Hashem to be there, they have to be together, the Yud and the Hey. You know, I hear a lot of times people say, especially the women, they like to say that the Pasuk says that a woman has to be an Ezer Kenegdo. A woman has to be a helper opposite her husband. And they say, what's a helper opposite her husband's? It's if her husband's doing the right thing, we're a helper. And if the husband's doing the right thing, we're opposite him. Which is very true. But I once heard a beautiful explanation by Rabbi Victor Miller, Zechat Tzadik Lebracha. I was listening to one of his audio recordings, which I recommend everyone to do. They're long, but they're very deep and very insightful. And he said, you know what it means, Ezer Kinigdo? It means an opposite helper opposite. He says very simple. He says if you're carrying a heavy box, one person can't carry it. You know, some of those boxes, it says fragile, 2-person lift, right? So how do 2 people carry it? One is opposite the other, right? They're carrying it. One is here and one is over here, and they're carrying it together as they're kinigdo, opposite each other. They are helping each other because life is a burden. It's a box, a very heavy box of many things going on. Whether it be the children, whether it be financial responsibilities. And the only way any couple can get through it is if each one is standing on the opposite side, helping each other to get through it. And then, Vayulu Vasar Ehad, then they will be together as one flesh. And then they will have the Yud and the Hey being together. Shem Hashem Shechina in the house. And then it will be a very blessed house, a very happy house, a house of simcha, a house of kol sason v'kol simcha, always happiness and great occasions, leading to many more occasions and creating more Bayit Ne'emans b'Yisrael. I want to move on to our second topic for this week's parasha. We mentioned that the second topic was going to be Nazir, the Nazir, the Nazarite. And this is a person who chooses upon himself to be more holy. And he has to refrain from wine and grape products, can cut his hair, can become contaminated to corpse contaminations and other contaminations. And a Nazir chooses upon himself to be more holier. The Pasuk says, because he chose upon himself to be more holy, it says that he has a crown on top of him. All right? The Pasuk says in chapter 6, verse 7, Ki nezer Elohav al rosho, for the crown of Hashem is upon him. He chose to put on a crown. Now, only adults can choose. All right? Honestly, children really don't choose. Children, they see what their parents do. If a parent, we mentioned this many times, if parents like reading the newspaper, child's going to read newspapers. A parent likes to spend time on the phone. The kid's always going to try to take your phone to go on the phone because that's what the parents are doing. The parents are always reading books. The kid's going to want to read books too. Whatever you're doing, that's what the kids want to do. So kids don't really have a choice. And that was the question. In the Haftarah, we read about Shimshon. A malach comes to Shimshon's mother and tells her, you're going to have a boy. And he's going to be a Nazir, and you have to keep the laws of Nazirut right now, already from the womb. So her husband Manoach, when he hears that the Malach came to her, he says, I want to see the Malach too. I want to ask him, Mana aseh lanar hayulad. He said, I want to ask the Malach what to do. So everyone asks, why are you asking the Malach what to do? He already told your wife what to do. Keep the laws of Nazirut. If you don't know how to keep the laws of Nazirut, go to the rabbis of your generation. Why need the Malach to come back? So Rav Schwab explains that Manoach wasn't asking the laws of Nazirut. He was asking, how? If I'm not a Nazir, if I'm the parent and I don't keep the laws of the Nazir, how am my child going to know it? So the Malach answers back, Tesht, Tishamer, Tochal. He says Lashanot that can be either third person feminine or second person masculine in the future tense. And Rav Schwab said this is what the Malach was saying. You don't eat. You watch out. You be careful as a Nazir. Even though you're not a Nazir, but if you're going to be raising a Nazir, the only way you can raise a Nazir is if you yourself are a Nazir. If you yourself behave like a Nazir, you behave and act like a Nazir, then you're also going to be able to raise a Nazir. I saw this year a beautiful story brought down the Peninim al Torah. It brings down a story. Many of you have heard of a great posek of the last generation. He was nifter not too long ago, Rav Shmuel Wozner. Shmuel Wozner was a big posek, a big halachic person, a Talmud Chacham. He's a Gadol Hador. There's a story that's told about his grandmother. Told about his mother. Told about his mother. His mother's name was Rosa Schiff, and she lived in Austria. And at that time, there weren't any Beit Yaakovs in the area. And she went to a Goyish school, public school. And she was known to have a very beautiful voice. And it got out in the town in Austria, and the people from the operas and the opera houses came to the school and they were trying to recruit Rosa Schiff into their opera, into their ensembles, and she was offered lots of money. She was offered, the family was offered a house and this and that, helping their financial situation greatly. And yet Rosa herself said to them over and over again, I do not sing in front of men. I can't accept this position. I cannot accept this offer. And her father was very proud. Her father was a student of the Hafetz Chaim. And so he told his daughter, come with me. She was around 17, 18 at this time. He said, come with me. I'm going to take you to the Hafetz Chaim. And we're going to get you a bracha that you should find a good shidduch and you should have a good life. You know, because you let all this money go. You deserve a bracha very high. It's a very special thing that you did. You chose the right path. And so they traveled to Radin, to the Chafetz Chaim's hometown. They come into the Chafetz Chaim's house. The Chafetz Chaim sees Rabbi Schiff, and he tells Rabbi Schiff, let me ask you, I heard about a Rosa Schiff. It was in the newspapers, everywhere. Everyone's talking about this girl, a young girl who made a big Kiddush Hashem, who said, I'm not going to sing in the opera. I'm going to keep the laws of the Torah. Do you know who she is? And Rabbi Schiff said, that's my daughter. Chafetz Chaim said, what's your daughter? Oh my goodness, it's so amazing. He said, yeah, and Rabbi Schiff said, my daughter is here. We came to get a beracha from you. Chafetz Chaim says, of course she has a beracha. Of course she's going to have beracha. She got everything she wants in her life. And plus, I'm giving her a beracha that from her will come a light to all of Klal Yisrael. And there, we know the rest of the story of Rav Shmuel Wozner. Why? Because the mother followed the father, who was a student of Hafetz Chaim, who put in his young daughter the wherewithal, the ability to say no to the pressure of and incentives of money and economic status and fame, and be able to say no at a young age. And that passed down from her father to her son. And I saw, like a couple of days after I saw this story, I saw another story of Rav Shmuel Wozner. Another amazing story. Rav Shmuel Wozner got a phone call from a student in America. The student in America said, my son is becoming bar mitzvah. I want to bring him to Eretz Yisrael, to Bnei Brak, so the rabbi, Rav Wozner, the Gadol Hador, can put tefillin for the first time on my son on the bar mitzvah. Please, Rabbi, let me know if you're going to be in Bnei Brak at this day, and we're going to come. The Shmuel Wozner said, no problem. The week before the bar mitzvah was supposed to be, he calls the father. He says, listen, I'm going to be in Bnei Brak. Come, and we're going to have your bar mitzvah here in my synagogue. So the father buys the tickets, 2 tickets on El Al to go to Israel. And they're excited. And the day before they have to fly, Rav Shmuel Wozner calls his student in America. And he says, listen, I've been thinking about it, and I don't want you to come. The student couldn't believe it. He said, what do you mean? What do you mean not to come? I bought the tickets, $2,000 I'm spending. We're already packed. We're good to go. Me and my son were on our way. And Shmuel Wozner said like this. He said, I was thinking about it. To go from your house to the airport, and from the airport, in the airport, to Israel's airport, and on the roads in Israel to Bnei Brak. Do you know how much pritzut? Do you know how much averot you can see from your house to come to Eretz Yisrael? It's not worth it that your son goes through this. As much as it's important for a rabbi to put tefillin on your son, and I understand why you want me to put it on, it's not worth it to your son to come here. So the father said, now what do I do with the $2,000 I lost? I'm not going to give it back to me. So Shmuel Wozner said, I'll tell you exactly what to do with it. He says, take the 2 tickets and place it in a picture frame. And write in the picture frame, we sacrifice these 2 tickets, which cost us $2,000, so that our beloved son would not see forbidden things. And then hang this up on the wall for everyone to see. Because that's the way you raise children. That's the way you do chinuch habanim, is by not what I say, is by what I do, and by example. And when they see what the father is doing, they see what the mother is doing, that's what they're going to do. And when you choose, just like the Nazir, to be higher and more religious, then your children are going to do that too. But if you're walking around and you are not that religious, when you're sending your sons to great yeshivot, which is a good thing to do, but then you expect him to do everything and you're not doing anything, not even trying, what's the son learning? That my father is saying one thing and he's doing something else. So that's the way life is. And that's the lesson you gave them. Chinuch habanim, choosing the right choice, and that choice has an effect not only on yourself, but on those around you. I want to move on to our last topic for tonight, the beracha, the Birkat Kohanim. Birkat Kohanim is a great blessing that should never be taken for granted. The same way people go to Chachamim and Gedolei Hador and to the Gedolei Hador to get berachot, it's brought down that that's how serious you have to take the Birkat Kohanim. Rav Aaron Leib Steinman, a big Gadol Hador from Eretz Yisrael, when he came to America, he would go to Atere Torah. Atere Torah is a Sephardic yeshiva, the Syrian Sephardic yeshiva in Brooklyn. He would go every morning to Atere Torah to pray by the Sfaradim so he can get Birkat Kohanim. Because in Chutz La'aretz, outside of Eretz Yisrael, most of the Ashkenazic synagogues, they don't do Birkat Kohanim for whatever various reasons that they have. But Rav Aaron Leib Steinman wanted to make sure, he's a Gadol Hador himself, he wanted to make sure he gets Birkat Kohanim. He made sure to go to Atere Torah every morning to hear in the Sephardic sing the Birkat Kohanim. That's how much the Gadol Hador took it. You know, and the Rav, one of the Rabbanim in Atere Torah, one of the rabbis in Atere Torah, he wrote to Rav Zilberstein, he said, when Rav Aaron Leib Steinman came to America, I tried to meet him as he was going through all these different places. And every time I went to these places, I never got a chance to even shake his hand or even talk to him, because he was always busy and surrounded by so many people. And then one morning, as I'm going to my yeshiva to pray, I see Rav Aaron Leib Steinman walking up the stairs, and I was able to talk to him. I was able to have everything in him, because he came to hear Birkat Kohanim. Birkat Kohanim is a very important beracha that we must try to make sure that we get every single day. Birkat Kohanim has one question on it that the Gemara asks 3 times and gives 3 different answers. What's the question? The pasuk says in Birkat Kohanim, Yisa Hashem panav elecha, which means Hashem should show you favor. And why is that a problem? Because in Parashat Ekev, I believe. Oh, here's my chumash. Hold on, I prepared it. In Parashat Ekev, it says in Devarim Ekev, that's chapter 10, verse 17. It says, Lo yisa panim v'lo yikach shohad. Okay, read the whole pasuk. Ki Hashem Elohechem Hu, right? Hashem your God, v'Adonai Adonim ha'el gadol ha'gibor v'hanora asher lo yisa panim v'lo yikach shohad. Hashem does not show favor. So in Birkat HaKohanim, we say Hashem shows favor. Yisa Hashem panav elecha, show us favor. And in Parashat Ekev, we say Hashem never shows favor. So does he show favor or he doesn't show favor? So the Gemara brings it down, the Talmud brings it down 3 times. It's first brought down in Masechet Rosh Hashanah. Masechet Rosh Hashanah. It's actually brought down in the name of Bluria. Bluria was a female convert. and she came to Yossi HaKohen, and she said, how could it be? It says Hashem shows favor, it says Hashem doesn't show favor. How could it be? And so Rabbi Yossi HaKohen gave her an answer. He said to her that Hashem shows favor for sins, for averot, that you do between Ben Adam L'Makom, between you and Hashem. That's Hashem shows favor. He doesn't get that upset about that. He'll forgive you. But between you and man, Hashem can't show favor. You have to get forgiveness from your fellow man. Then the Gemara in Masechet Nida also asks this question and gives a different answer. It says before the Gezerah, before it's sealed, before the judgment is sealed on a person, you can have favor. Hashem can show favor and forgive you for it. But once the judgment is sealed, you can't get it away. That's the Gemara in Masechet Nida. But the Gemara in Masechet Berachot, which is the most famous answer, the Gemara in Masechet Berachot says, you know why Hashem shows favor? Hashem has to show favor. The Gemara says the Melachim asked this to Hashem. The Melachim went to Hashem and asked Hashem, how could you show favor to the Jews? It says you don't show favor. And Hashem answered the Melachim, I said in the Torah, V'achalta v'savata uverachta. You should eat, you should become full, and then you should say Birkat HaMazon. You know what the Jews do? You know what the Yidden do? They eat a kezayit and they already say Birkat HaMazon. If they say Birkat HaMazon on a kezayit, then how can I not show them favor? Now what's the explanation in this? Because they make a kezayit? Adarabah, on the opposite. If the Torah says you have to eat and be full and then say Birkat HaMazon, so if you eat a little bit and you're not full, it's a bracha levatala. Because it says, Ve'achalta v'savata uverachta. Eat, be full, and then say Birkat HaMazon. So the Rosh Yeshivot, I saw from Rav Pam, Rosh Yeshiva of Torah V'dat, Zechasik Bracha, and his student, the Rosh Yeshiva now in Torah V'dat, or Yisrael Reisman Shlita, they answer beautifully. They say, usually a person, if he has a little bit, he's upset. I don't have enough. I can't believe it. And in order to feel full, you have to eat. Like the way the Bukharians make a wedding, with steaks, manti, everything coming out every 5 seconds, so much food you can't even eat. By the time you take your fork, they broke it, they took it, you're like, what happened? If you're married to Bukharians, you know how much food comes on the Shabbat table, one after another. Every year you have to buy another pans, bigger and bigger, 32, 34. Then you don't want to buy it, but you don't fit into it. You want to feel full. If you have a little bit, you don't feel good. What'd you make? What happened? The opposite, he says. You see, a Jew doesn't talk like that. A Jew has a little, and he feels full. Even when he's not full. Because full is not just your stomach full. Full, v'savata, means being satisfied with what Hashem gives you. Hashem tells the Malachim, the Jews have no reason to be satisfied with that little olive volume, that kezayit of bread that they ate to say Birkat HaMazon. Because technically their stomachs are not full. But you know what they do? The Jews feel full. They say, if Hashem gave me only this to eat, then this is it. And v'savata, I'm satisfied with what I have. And they say Birkat HaMazon. So of course I have to show favor with them. Even though they don't deserve it. Because I didn't give them what they deserve to say Beracha, and they gave me Beracha. So I will give them Beracha, even though they don't deserve it. Midah keneged midah. And Rav Pam says, that's the way with everything. A person is having a troubling time with parnasah. You're not supposed to start to scream, yell, and say, what happened? And blame everyone in the world. And how can Hashem do this to me? I heard this a lot of people. How can Hashem do this to me? I'm learning, I'm trying. I try to keep Shabbat. People told me they started going to shul right before this whole pandemic started. And then 2-3 weeks after they started going to shul. They never went to shul, and they decided to start going 2-3 weeks, and then they closed down the shuls. Rabbi, how could this happen? I never went, now I came, and then it closed down. A person should never say, why Hashem did this to me? How this is happening? What a person is supposed to do is v'achalta v'savata. He's supposed to say, Hashem, what you gave me, I'm full with it. I'm satisfied with it. Hashem said, you're satisfied with this little bit? I'll give you more. I'll show you more favor. I'll give you more stuff. I'll give you everything that you need. And may Hashem always shower His infinite blessings upon His people. I will tell you, it's a quick story from Nachum and Breslov. I don't know if we'll get cut off. But if we do get cut off, I want to wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom. The story goes that there was once a man who always trusted in Hashem. And there was a king who, in that city, that he felt that only he should be the most happiest person in town. Because he has everything, and nobody else has anything. And so he went out into town to look and to see how other people are living. And he saw one person complaining about this, a person with that. He was very happy. He came by to a Jewish home, and he saw the people in there, are partying and they're excited. So he knocks on the door. He's dressed up as a peasant, and he knocks on the door and he says, "What's so happy about here?" So they say, "Oh, we don't have a lot, but we trust in Hashem. Every day I fix a couple of stuff and I make 6 coins. We buy food and we celebrate." What do you work in? He says, "Oh, I repair dishes." Okay. The king makes a gezerah the next day. No one is allowed to repair dishes. That business is out. The man didn't have any money. So he saw someone chopping wood. So he went to that man and said, "Do you need help? I'll work for you." The man says, "Yeah, how much you want to get paid?" He said, "All I need is 6 golden coins." And he started chopping wood. He got the 6 golden coins. He went home and he started feasting again. The king came out again that day to see how that man was behaving. He saw him feasting. He says, "What happened?" He says, "Oh, I worked as a wood chopper." New law the next day. You can't hire wood choppers. What am I going to do? He goes to the royal palace and he goes to work as a guard. He's working there as a guard. He's issued a sword. As he's going through the shift, he unscrews the blade from the sword, and he takes the blade, he switches it with some wood, he sneaks it out of the palace. And he barters it for 6 golden coins. He barters it for 6 golden coins, and he goes home and he's feasting again. The king comes out again. He sees this guy feasting. He says, "What'd you do today?" He says, today I went to the royal palace. And in the royal palace, there was a sword that they gave me. And I switched it out. And now I got a piece of metal. And I bartered it, and then I pawned it off, and I got 6 golden coins. So the king said, "Really? Okay." The next day, as he goes back to the palace to work, the king says, "We have here a traitor in our midst, and I need one of my soldiers to kill him." He looks around, and he spots this Jew who switched the sword out. And he tells him, "I want you to be the executioner." So he takes his sword, and he tells the king, "I don't know if it's a good idea. I never did this before. Don't choose me." King says, No. I really want you to be the one." So he says, "You know what, king? You leave me no choice. I will do it. But I want to just say that if the man that you're telling me to kill is innocent, a miracle will happen and my sword will turn into wood." He pulls out the sword from the sheath, and lo and behold, it was wood. Of course, the king found it very, very cunning, and the king forgave him, and the king left him alone and let him live his life b'simcha. But a person who trusts in Hashem, a person who always trusts in Hashem will see miracles happen to him. Hashem will show favor to him, and he'll live a life of happiness always. And with this, Rabotai, I want to wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom. If you missed out a couple of minutes at the end, it is on YouTube, and you can tell the other people. This will be published on YouTube tonight, and we'll share it. Be'ezrat Hashem. And I wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for joining, and we'll try to make sure this doesn't happen again and we get cut off. Shabbat Shalom B'kulam.